We're going to start out real quick with just kind of an overview of what we've done this year in 2020 so far. We get reports back from the pastors. I talk to the guys every day. There's not a day goes by that I don't talk to at least one of them. And so you can see here we've had many children in the program have received the Lord this year, and that is our main goal. We do all these things, but our main goal is gospel proclamation. These kids coming to the Lord and their families coming to the Lord. We've provided a lot of medical care this year for kids in the program, some of the families of the kids, and even just people in the villages that our pastors come across as they're out doing their pastoral ministry. Thousands and thousands of meals have been served this year through the program. We've bought Bibles in Kenya, and they've been distributed out into the villages. We do English Bibles and also Luo. Luo is the tribe that we work with in Kenya, and so we do purchase Luo Bibles as well. We've done flood relief. When we got back from Kenya in March, right when the country was shutting down, there was terrible, terrible floods in Kenya. Lots of crops destroyed, houses destroyed. You'll see some of that here in a little bit. But we did some food distributions, some medicine, blankets, and stuff like that, and built some homes for some of the flood relief. We did a distribution of feminine hygiene products at one of the schools that we partner with over there. As of today, or actually it'll be the end of this week, we've built 33 homes in Kenya this year. Between what the church has given, what individuals have given, and our partner, House for a Home, out of Dallas. We've built 33 homes. And just recently, we've expanded the size of land that we have, that our pastors have over in Kenya at IBC Magina. We bought more land for them. We're going to end up building 3 classrooms for the school that's there. And so the first classroom is built. That's been done. Sarah Ray, I think, is that you back there, Sarah? Yeah, Sarah's back there. So the school there is called Sarah's Kids. They named it after Sarah. Sarah helps us fundraise for that. And so the first classroom was built just a few weeks ago. And then here recently, our pastors over the last couple of years have been working in a remote village to plant a new church. They've just been going out, banging on doors, walking into homes, and sharing the gospel. And they've had enough people come together to form a church. And just this, actually today, they finished building the church, the actual church building. And so they're going to dedicate that church this Sunday. When we go in March with a small group, we're going to do another dedication. They want us to come and dedicate it as well. So we've assisted with that church plant. The pastor there is going to be Pastor Emmanuel. He's one of the association there that our pastors are involved with. They know him real well, and he's a really, really great guy, godly man. I just want to tell you guys, as far as the church, individuals who sponsor us, those of you who pray for us, the ministry who support our pastors. I know many of you are friends with our pastors on Facebook. They love to be on social media, and they love to interact with you guys. And so just thank you so much for the support that you give. There is no way that what is done in Kenya could be done without the support of y'all. Praying for them, your financial contributions, just your support of them, just talking to them and encouraging them. We really appreciate it. We could not do what we do without you. So I'm going to have Leesa. This is our mission statement, and you can find all of this on our website. We have our website. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well. So this is on our website. It's nourishingthenations.org if you ever want to look at it.
So Nourishing the Nations exists to provide nourishing meals to the children of Kisumu County in Western Kenya. These meals are provided through partnerships with local Kenyan pastors, and we have 5. As we provide nourishing meals for children, we pray that children and their families would come to know eternal life in Jesus Christ.
So, I'll dig into this here in a little bit, but our main goal is we want to introduce these kids to Jesus. We want their families to know Jesus. And we have seen that over and over as these kids come to the programs and come to these churches to get fed. They also meet Jesus. And the pastors, every time they meet, they either do a Bible story, they do something to teach these kids about Jesus, whether it be a Bible story, whether they do plays and stuff. They do all kinds of stuff. Every program that our church has that we're partners with over there, they also do the Awana program. The same Awana program that our kids go through here, they do it over in Kenya. There's a big Awana organization in Kenya. They go through the same stuff. They do the game square. They do it all. And so it's really neat that they get to do that. I just want to, Lucas, you can go to the next slide. I just want you to see how big Africa is compared to the U.S. Africa is a huge continent. And then Texas and Kenya are close to the same in size. The population in Kenya has really exploded in the last 20 years. This was the latest census information that I could find. And so the population in Kenya just 15, 20 years ago was like in the 35 to 36 million. So there's a lot of people moving to Kenya. And so I just wanted you to kind of get an idea of our population compared to us and the size, the geographic location. Our pastors, I don't think, understand how big Texas is. And we tell them we're driving from Midland to Dallas to go jump on a plane. Sometimes I think they think, well, that's a few miles down the road. It takes all day to get there, And so we're recording this, and so they're going to hear all this, and so I'll probably get some messages back from them. All right, Lucas, you can go to the next picture. So what I kind of want to do right now is just talk to you a little bit about our call to ministry and our call to Kenya. In 2011, me and Leesa were in the student ministry working with Corey and Crystal, who are both in here tonight. And I just really had this desire. God laid a desire in my heart to take our students on a mission trip. Didn't really know where we would go, what we would do. And as some of you know, we went to camp with Student Life. There was an organization called Servant Life, who was their missions arm. And so I contacted Servant Life, and we ended up choosing Kenya. Actually, I think Kenya chose us. And so we got a team together. I was really nervous. I'd never done anything like that before. We took 20 of us went over there to Kenya. We got to Kenya, and as we got on the ground and out of the airports, this is the first picture that I ever took in Kenya. That wasn't in an airport or a guest house. First one. If you can go back just a second, Lucas. And so this picture here, and I'll never forget this. Me and Corey were in the vehicle. We're driving down the road, and we see this little kid come out. He's got a little water bottle. He fills that water bottle up out of one of these ditches, out of this red dirt, red water, and he drinks it. And I'll never forget that. That has always been stuck in my mind. You remember that, Corey? We talked about it. I asked Corey, did you just see that? At this point, when you get to the airport, you're in Nairobi, you get to Kisumu, or at that time we were in Eldoret, Kenya, and you're just in culture shock. This is our first time to be there, first time to see that stuff, and we're just kind of in shock at what we're seeing. And we see that little kid fill up that bottle and drink it, and it's never left my mind. All right, Lucas, you can go to that next picture. As we're going around Kitale, Kenya, you have street kids everywhere. These kids some call them the forgotten kids, glue boys. You can see the boys here in the picture on the right. They've got bottles of glue, shoe glue. There's a shoe factory in the area, and they buy or steal, or the glue factory actually gives these kids bottles with glue in it. And these kids that live on the streets, they huff this glue, and they get high on it. It masks the cold, because it's cold up in Kitale. It's cold in that part of Kenya. It masks the cold. It masks the hunger. And the main reason they do this is because it keeps the kids kind of calm, and they don't mess with stuff. These kids dig through the dumps out there, and that's what they do. That's where they go for their food. They dig through all the trash, and they find all this food, and that's where they eat. And if there's kids sleeping on the street. There's kids I see these kids in here. There's kids that age that live on the streets. They have no parents, double orphans. They're out on the streets. And we just saw this everywhere as we were walking through Kitale and through the area in 2012. I'll never forget, we were walking through, and our missionaries that we were there with, they said, absolutely do not give any food to any kid that comes up to you, any of these street kids, because if you do, you're going to get just swarmed, and it's just going to be bad. It's going to cause a problem. And I'll never forget, we were walking through the town, and Mallory Hinesley had a backpack on. She had a package of crackers in the pocket of her backpack, and this little kid come up to her and was trying to get them, And we knew what the word for no was. No in Swahili is hapana. He's like, hapana, and a kid finally ran off. And it just tore you up, because you have a backpack full of food, and you can't give it to these kids, and you know that they're starving to death. That kind of stuff, it just it sticks in your mind. These kids are out here because of AIDS, alcoholism, neglect, abuse, extreme poverty. Some of these kids have mental health issues. Parents or whoever maybe didn't want to deal with them, and so they just put them to the streets. So as we got to this point, and we're seeing all this, and you're trying to process all this, you really don't process a lot of this until you get home, because there's so much to see. Me and Leesa and our team, we got back on the bus to go home. I'll never forget getting in the bus and driving back to the airport in Nairobi. And I'm sitting in the front of the bus with one of our guys who was helping us out. His name was David Wangaka. He's actually here in the U.S. now. And if you know me, I'm a crybaby. I cry a lot. My boys like to make fun of me for that. But I was sitting on the front of the bus, and I was crying for a lot of reasons. One is we've been preparing for this for over a year, and it was over. Two, I was overwhelmed with just everything that had gone on, and I knew when we first left for Kenya, I had no idea that we would ever go back. I actually never even thought about going back to Kenya. But I knew when we were pulling up to the airport that we would be back. I knew that God was saying, you're going to be back here one day. I didn't know it would be just a few months later. And so through those tears, one of my favorite guys in the world to listen to preach, teach is Landon. I'm not going, but is also David Platt. And his latest book, Something Needs to Change. I went through that again today. I'll listen to the whole thing again today. And he was talking about at one point, you got to turn your tears into tactics, okay? And that's what we did. It took us several years to figure out what God wanted us to do, but we turned our tears into tactics. And so I've never done this before with you guys, so I want to just go through. You can go to the next slide, Lucas. I want to just show you something. This is the Global Hunger Index. This is done for the whole world, okay? And not every country makes it on the Global Hunger Index, which is a good thing. You don't want to be on the GHI. 117 countries are on the list right now. Right now, Kenya ranks 86 out of the 117, which is not a good place to be. The score is 0 to 100, 100 being the worst, 0 is little to no hunger at all. There's 4 factors that they consider to give you your rank. The first one is undernourishment, the proportion of the population that is undernourished as a percentage of the population. The second one is child wasting. Child wasting is children under 5 who have low weight for their height due to undernourishment. The third one is child stunting, which is low height for their age because of chronic undernourishment. And the fourth one is child mortality rate. So children under 5 who are dying due to undernourishment. And as I was looking at this stuff the other day, I come across information. The area of Kenya that we work in is called Nyanza. It's almost on the border of Uganda. Nyanza has the highest child mortality rate of any area in Kenya. And I told Sarah that yesterday when I found it. I'm going to have to dig into that and see exactly why that is. I'm really not sure, but it's very alarming. And you can see here, you can go to the next slide, Lucas. This shows you Kenya's index, and you can see that they're getting better. 2000, they were at 36.9. 2019, they're at 25.2, which is still serious, but they're headed in the right direction. The problem with that is that can change at any time. There's all kinds of things that affect that hunger index. It could be, in Kenya, you're very dependent on crops. You grow your own food. It's very agriculture there. Rain, drought, the floods can wipe out crops, and then locusts. The locusts can come through there, and we think the locusts here, over there they have the locust swarms. I mean, it's just crazy. The locusts can destroy the crops. And then just mismanagement, of the food that they have. And so I wanted to show you this so you guys would know this is just not something that me and Leesa and people on our board and people who partner with us, we're just over there feeding kids because we want to. There is a huge, huge need for this. When I was growing up and you'd see stuff on TV, there's all those commercials of the kids in Ethiopia and they were trying to raise money for that. Well, when you go to Kenya, you actually see that. You live it, and sometimes when you see it, you can't get it out of your mind, and you have to do something. Compassion has to turn to action. And so that's kind of what we've done. All right, Lucas, you can go to the next slide. And this is it. Jesus is the answer. We know that those kids need Jesus. There is not enough money in the world that's going to turn Africa or anywhere else into what it needs to be. Jesus is the only one that can do that. And our plan is to use nutrition to reach those kids for Jesus. Just this week in Sunday school, we talked about Peter and John and the lame beggar at the beautiful gate. And Peter and John used that man and that miracle to launch into the gospel message, to all these people. All these people were saved. And that's kind of what me and Leesa and those of us who go to Kenya and those of us who kind of game plan all of our stuff, we use nutrition, we use these feeding programs to launch into the gospel message to all these kids and their families. And so that's kind of what we've come up with. We've mirrored it after some programs are already there in Kenya. It's not like we're reinventing the wheel. We're just putting our own spin on it, our own twist on it. And so that's kind of what our deal is. We want to reach these kids for Jesus and do it through our programs by giving them a hot meal. There's a saying that goes, an empty stomach has no ears. I can go to Corey, and if Corey is starving to death, hadn't eaten in 3 or 4 days, but I go up there and I start talking to him about Jesus, he's not going to listen to me. He's hungry. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to feed these kids. You see all the kids on the streets. You see all these kids everywhere who in Kenya are hungry. One way to break that cycle is to give them proper nutrition. I mean, they've seen it in our programs already. Once these kids start getting proper nutrition, they start getting meals on a regular basis. Their health improves, their school attendance improves. It changes their whole outlook on life. And if we can keep these kids off the streets and going into the cities and doing the things that these kids are doing, it's a double win. They get Jesus and they get off the streets, and they can change the course for their families for generations. And so I want to let Leesa introduce you to our pastors. So Lucas, you can go to the next slide. These are our 5 pastors. And these guys we have met over the years. JB, which is the one in the middle, he was the pastor that I first met in 2013. He's the first one that I met. And over the years, just through God's providence and God just working all things to good, we've met these 5 men. Me and Leesa and any of you who have been to Kenya, you kind of know these guys as your brothers. I mean, they're funny, they're crazy, they are good as gold. We couldn't do what we do in Kenya without these guys. These guys are in the trenches every single day. And I'm telling you, if you think you have a bad day at work, you probably do. But you haven't seen a bad day until you've had a bad day in Kenya. These guys walk for miles and miles and miles. They minister in some of the hardest places, and they do some of the hardest work that there is to do. And we really, really appreciate them. We trust them wholly with our ministry. We send a lot of money over for these feeding programs, and we trust them completely. We couldn't do it. They go to battle every day for our kids over there. And so I'm going to let Leesa walk you through these pastors and kind of introduce them to you and tell a little bit about each one of them.
Lucas, if you'll go to the next slide. This is, we lovingly call him Father Peter, or First Peter, and his wife Mary. Father Peter would be the elder of the 5 pastors, and he plays that role very well. Genuinely, I've never met a man sweeter than him. He just is so genuinely sweet. And if you know him and you're on Facebook with him, you're going to get a message from him where he tells you that he's praying for you, and he's not joking when he says that. I've never met somebody as committed to prayer as he is. He will message me. He'll be up at 4 a.m. his time on his knees in prayer for my need. And that is just such a cool thing. I mean, I just don't think we as Americans are willing to do that very often.
He says, I'm busy. He says, I'm busy praying. I'm busy praying.
And he is. He's busy praying. Very neat family. They have 7 children, ages 6 years to 21 years. So that's Father Peter. Next slide. This is 2 Peter and his wife, Anne. 2 Peter does a lot of work with Chris as far as the day-to-day ministry goes. There is not a day that goes by that we do not receive about 1 billion messages from 2 Peter usually, but starting at about 10:30 p.m. when we lay our heads on the pillow to go to bed, Chris's phone will start strobing because he has his strobe light. If you've ever sat near him, his light strobes. So our bedroom lights up all night long. It's great fun. I pull the covers over my head. But he will message all day long with Chris and all night long. But 2 Peter and his wife, they have 3 children, ages 4 to almost 9. She turns 9 this month. And he does a lot of the treasury work in our ministry on the grounds there and the construction. He owns his own construction business, and so he also oversees a lot of the construction in our ministry. Next slide. Okay, this is Pastor Jared and his wife, Mary. Pastor Jared and Mary are at Emmanuel Baptist Magina. That's where Sarah's kids' school is. They have 6 children, ages 5 to 25. When we first went to Kenya and first went to Magina, the village area is very rural where he's at. The river is very close to the church. And Pastor Jared has an 8th grade education, and Mary has a 7th grade education. He didn't speak a lot of English. He knew English because Swahili and English are the languages that are taught in school. So he knew English, but he didn't use English, just like some of us may know another language, but if we don't use it, we don't speak it very well. He didn't speak it very well, but he has come so far in the years that we've been in ministry together. And again, a very neat couple. And operating a school with lots and lots of children, and it's just been way cool to see how God is using them and growing them. The next slide is Pastor David and his wife, Ann. You're going to start to maybe see a theme here if you don't know. There's lots of Anns and Marys and Peters. But these are their children. One of them is actually a niece, but they are raising her. So they have 3 children of their own. Baby Chris over there on the side is now 1.
Chris Harrington, by the way.
Yeah. Baby Chris Harrington, and then their oldest, Finn Charles, is 10. So they have a church ministry also, a feeding program in Owasi, another beautiful area. And then the next slide is JB and Rachel. Again, Chris, we met JB first, so that's the first pastor we partnered with and did ministry with. But JB and Rachel have 3 children, ages 8 to 4 years of age. So JB was able to step into leadership in an established church, Rapogi Baptist Church. So he has a very established church program that he is leading, but it's been cool to watch him step into that role under some leadership that's established there that has been mentoring him. So that's really cool too.
All right, we don't want to forget Boaz, and so when COVID hit, I had to fire our IT guy, and so whoever made this PowerPoint, I'm not going to mention any names, Chris, but he screwed it up, and so somehow that's Boaz and Millicent. Boaz is our fundi, so a fundi is any kind of skilled labor. He can build, he can lay concrete, he can do anything, and so that's Boaz, his wife Millicent. They have 5 kids, I believe. And so he's on the wrong slide, but there's Boaz. And so I kind of want to move into just a real quick overview of our feeding program. And so we're feeding anywhere from 500 to 700, 800 kids a day in the programs, okay? And you can see here for $40 a day, we can feed the church full of children. For $640 a month, we can feed an entire church. That includes all the food. That includes money to pay cooks. That also includes firewood, transportation to get the foods from the markets to the village. We buy from local growers, and so they go to the market and buy in those areas. So we're also benefiting the people in the community there. So one of the things that happened when COVID hit is I'll get into this in a minute, is basically the country shut down. But one of the things that happened is they had to close the churches down, and our feeding programs happened in the churches. And so they had to stop meeting in the churches, and the pastors started doing these feeding programs out of their homes. If their homes were too far away from the church, they had one of the deacons that was closer to the church. And so that's still happening in many cases. They're still in homes and in the deacons' homes. Lucas, you can go to the next slide. So the lady on the right is cooking. We built a kitchen at every location. All the meals were prepared over open fires like this. That's on a jiko, a little burner that uses charcoal. She's making ugali, which is a staple in Kenya. And the picture on the left is the kids in the program just taking their lunch for the day. Usually it's beans and rice, or ugali and rice, or little minnows that they call omena. They say they're really sweet, but they're really not. It's whatever you would imagine licking a minnow bucket. That's what it tastes like. But they love them. That's like candy to them.
Do the next one.
And then that's looks like at Magina, maybe, on the right. And then I don't know if you can see that. That's Jason Westfall and Sarah, and then some of our other team members over there. When we go visit every program, check in on the programs, just to see how they're doing. All right. We also assist with medical care. Medical care for our folks over there in Kenya is a really big deal. We provide, if our pastors think it's bad enough that we need to step in, they'll come to me and we'll talk about it. We provide for those in the villages as well. Lucas, you can go to the next slide. I just want to point out, too, real quick to you, Carlos is on the left. Carlos, they brought him to our attention. He had spina bifida. About a week or two after he was born, they found him in a condition. He still had the open back, from spina bifida was still open. His body was full of infection. And so we took him to the hospital. He had surgery on his back. He ended up having a shunt put in his brain so the fluids would drain. He's doing really well. This is a picture just a few days ago I got. He went to a Samaritan's Purse hospital, had surgery. He's doing really well. The little girl on the right, most of you know Shalavine. This is a new picture. This is at the hospital. She just got fully released. She's the one that had her foot burned. It kind of grew back up into her leg. They cut the leg, and her foot's out. She can walk now. She can wear shoes. When we first met her, she would walk on her heel, basically. And it was just, it's miraculous to see both these kids in the shape that they're in. So when you support us through givings, this is what we do. We help these kids. It's, like I said, we couldn't do it without you. So thank you very much. All right. Next slide. So this is another picture that got messed up. But this is Sarah and Carlos at Carlos's home. But this slide is supposed to be talking about building a home. So we build a lot of homes. For $450, you can build a home. That includes the fundi to build the home and a helper, the iron sheets for the house and all the nails, and then the people in the village actually put the mud walls on. So $450, you can provide a home. All right, Lucas, you can go to the next slide. We're going to have to run through these pretty quick. It's already 7:20. So let's talk about how COVID affected Kenya. So we left Kenya in March. We were sitting in the airport, waiting on our plane, eating lunch. Kenya came over the news. I got a notification on my phone. Kenya just had their first case of COVID as we were in the airport fixing to leave. The next day, they closed the airport. No travel in the country, no travel out of the country. So we got out just in time. We were actually in Dubai coming back home. They were canceling flights. It was all good for us. So when they shut the country down, they closed the schools, they closed the churches. No travel in or out of the country, no travel within the country. Wherever you were is where you stayed. And then they put strict curfews in place. The restaurants and markets were closed. And so for a culture that depends highly on hand to mouth, whatever you got that day, that's what you ate that day. It was devastating for the country. Lots of people were starving, lots of people out of work. Lucas, you can go to the next slide. Unemployment is extremely high anyway. It just got worse. And then on top of that, there were terrible, terrible floods in Kenya. Crops got washed out. Houses were destroyed. Mission trips from all over the world that go into Kenya and Africa in general were canceled. So there was a lot of help that normally was being offered was not getting there again. And the doctors are always on strike in Kenya. They went on strike. They're on strike right now. They strike over the smallest things. One of the other things we did, let me see what's going. You can go ahead and go to the next one, Lucas. So one of the things that we did food distribution in all of our villages. And so we purchased thousands of pounds of maize and corn and beans, and we did these distributions. We provided medicine blankets. We built homes for some of those who lost their homes in the floods, and then the feminine hygiene kits were distributed at Odienia. And so, Lucas, you can run through these pictures real quick. These are the ladies that are volunteers for us. Those are sacks of maize. You can scroll through them, Lucas. These are ladies in line who are waiting to get food at one of the churches. That's at First Baptist Harrow. And this is out at, I'm not sure where that was. It's hard to tell. But you can see we had a huge response. And we did that because you guys are so generous to support us. That's a sack of beans. Yeah, that's JB's church. They filled up sacks and delivered them. There's some pictures of the floods, roads washed out. It was bad news. People had to vacate, just went where they could. You can see here the flood waters came through, and you can see how high the water got. It just washed the mud right off her home. And this is a home that we built. The home hasn't been mudded yet, but it's ready for mud. I'll let you talk about that real quick. We've only got a few minutes.
We have a friend that went with us on a trip several years ago, and she felt the Lord was just really placing on her heart to do feminine hygiene products. At the schools that we visit, one of them is Odienia Primary School, and we've been going there for 5 or 6 years. We love that school. They love seeing us. They start to sing More Than Conquerors, which is a song we sang the very first year we went there. They start singing it as soon as we pull up in our vans. But one of the principals and the head teachers told our pastors that went out after the flood that girls weren't coming to school because when it's that time of the month, there's no way to come. They don't have the supplies, or they can't afford to get the supplies. So one of our friends that's been, her name is Leesa, she started raising money to send some feminine hygiene products, and we partnered together and sent out a bunch of packages of products. They got underwear, washable pads, and bars of soap so that those girls can continue to stay in school. That's one of the projects that we've done this year that we've never done before. And so it was very successful, and they were very thankful for that.
Yeah. That was one thing that they had been asking for a while, and we just finally were able to do that. And so thank you for that. All right, so we've only got just a few minutes left. There they are. You can see that they're excited to get that. So I want to talk to you about some plans for the future. This is some information that we haven't shared with anyone other than people on our board and people who are really close to the ministry. We have applied for NGO status in Kenya. NGO is kind of like a nonprofit here. It's a non-governmental organization. And so we've applied for our status. We should get approval this month. We're in the last stages of it. Once we get that, we'll be on firm footing in Kenya. We can get longer visas, stuff like that. There's a lot of benefits to having an NGO in Kenya. And so we've kind of kept that to ourselves, but now that we're in the final process, final stage of it, I want to share that with you. One of the things that me and Leesa and our board have been praying about and thinking about for a long time is purchasing land in Kenya. And so we've been trying to go over the last few months. We've been hitting hiccups. We were supposed to be over there last week. Our flights got canceled, so we're going over in March. We went over to try to buy a piece of land. And so we have plans to purchase a piece of land. On that piece of land, we have plans to build a mission home, a mission compound, where we can host our teams, where we can build a barn and store food, buy in bulk, have somebody in Kenya distribute to the villages instead of going to the market, buying in small. We can buy in bulk and have a guy deliver it we can feed way more children that way. And really, it's not that expensive to do this. We're thinking we can buy the land, build a home for somewhere around $60,000, and that's a home that will sleep 16 to 20 people, kitchen, everything. And so be praying for us as we are looking for land and thinking about doing that. One of the things I'm most excited about is, so in 2012, the first time we went to Kenya, we went with Servant Life. Well, I got a call earlier this year from Zach with Servant Life. He goes, hey, I know you've been with us. We've been following you. Long story short, they've asked us to partner with them. And so we're going to start hosting mission teams from Servant Life to go to Kenya with us through Nourishing the Nations. We're going to start that in 2022. We've already have one team signed up from North Carolina that's going to go with us, and it could turn into something really big for the ministry and for our guys in Kenya to expose more people to the ministry there. We're really excited about that. Servant Life, they focus on high school kids, college kids, and so they have a reach all over the country. And so there's no telling what could happen once we get going with Servant Life. I'll be needing people who have been before, like the Westfalls, the Rays, the Spirit, people who have gone to lead teams over, to take a group of kids over, to meet them over there. So really excited about that. Be praying for us in Servant Life as we go through that. And then our 2021 mission trips. I've got a really small team going in March to do some administrative stuff, but we also have a team going in July. We're going to have a full team in July. I fully anticipate that team making, and so we're excited about that. If you're interested in Kenya, just come talk to me. If you're interested, we could always, when you become a missionary and you become a voice on behalf of the children, you almost become like a beggar, and I'm okay with that. I beg all the time for our kids over there. We really need support, and so if you guys ever want to join us, it's really easy. You can go to our website, nourishingthenations.org, and it's really easy to donate. You can donate $5. $5 will provide meals. You can do it through PayPal. You can write checks. You can do it however you want to do it. Okay, but we always need people to support us. And pray for our guys and gals over in Kenya and all of our kids. I think that's the last slide. There's some ways you can pray for our ministry in Kenya. Pray for our pastors over there. They've got really hard jobs as they lead their families, lead their churches, and try to provide for all these kids over in Kenya. And so 45 minutes goes really fast when you got a lot of information to share. If you know me, I could talk all day about Kenya. So I'm gonna stop. Landon's giving me the stink eye, so he's really not. But it's 7:30. So if you ever have any questions about Kenya, even tonight, if you want to come talk to me, or Leesa, if you have some questions, just come ask us. We would be more than happy to talk to you about Kenya. We love Kenya. There's a lot of people in here that love Kenya, and so just come talk to us. Thank y'all.